Have you ever wondered who really runs the show between IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, and Simon Ekpa? Why does this matter so much, not just in Nigeria, but in Europe and even before international courts? Well, today we are unpacking that mysterious story, as it just keeps developing in real time, and trust me, you will want to stay until the end. Before we begin, make sure you like this video and subscribe to this channel for breaking news and explanation you won't get anywhere else. So here's the thing, Simon Ekpa, a name that has been trending across Nigeria and foreign news platforms, is at the center of this huge controversy. Ekpa was recently convicted in a Finnish court and sentenced to 6 years in prison on charges that include terrorism-related activities, incitement to violence and even aggravated tax offenses. A court in Finland found that he used his influence online and abroad to fuel violence and spread dangerous rhetoric that affected real people back home in Nigeria's southeast. Now, what makes this story even spicy is how his name keeps getting linked to IPOB and Nnamdi Kanu, the longtime leader of the Indigenous People of Biafra. But here's a twist, IPOB itself has publicly distanced the group from Ekpa. They have explained, in formal statements, that Ekpa's activities and his factions are not the official IPOB movement led by Kanu. They've even called some of the attempts to link Kanu with Ekpa's actions propaganda. And that brings us to the big question viewers keep asking. Who is really running the show? Is it Kanu? Is it Ekpa? Or is this just a complicated political drama played out across 2 continents? Let's break it down. Simon Ekpa originally started as one of the many voices in the broad push for Biafra self-determination. But over time, his methods became extreme and widely criticized, issuing controversial sit-at-home orders that forced businesses to close, people to stay indoors, and actually contributed to tension and insecurity in parts of the southeast. His directives were so strict that families couldn't go about their normal lives, children missed school, and markets were empty on the days he declared sit-at-home. Many ordinary Nigerians suffered because of it. Meanwhile, Nnamdi Kanu, the symbolic leader of IPOB for years, has been dealing with his own separate and very high-profile legal struggles inside Nigeria. Kanu's supporters argue that his continued detention is unlawful, and many see his situation as political persecution rather than legitimate prosecution. This is why plenty of people believe Kanu's global reputation remains intact in many parts of the world, unlike Ekpa's. But here is where the confusion starts for many Nigerians on social media. When Ekpa got jailed in a European court, some people started saying, this must mean Kanu is next. Others claimed the government was using Ekpa's conviction to justify ill treatment of Kanu. But both IPOB and independent voices have said don't mix up these 2 cases. They are very different situations under very different legal systems. Now, let's talk about power and influence. Ekpa might be loud online, and he certainly made headlines, but it's important to understand that his faction does not represent the entire IPOB organization. IPOB, under Kanu, has members and followers in dozens of countries and presents itself as a peaceful movement for self-determination, recognized in international forums. They explicitly rejected Ekpa's violent image and said publicly that he has no official link to Kanu or IPOB's leadership. This is why many observers say the real power behind Biafra agitation does not lie with Ekpa, at least not officially. Instead, his actions gave ammunition to the Nigerian government and security forces who want to paint the entire Biafran cause as extremist. That's bad for peace in the region and it's bad for people trying to advocate non-violently. And of course, viewers, this situation has real human consequences. In communities across the southeast, the fear and uncertainty caused by sit-at-home orders, kidnappings and violent incidents linked, rightly or wrongly, to Ekpa's directives have led to loss of lives, loss of business, and deep distrust among neighbors. People are tired. They want peace above all else. Let's also be clear, Ekpa's conviction in Finland doesn't mean peace automatically returns. In fact, some legal experts are already talking about possible appeals and whether Finland might ever consider extradition to Nigeria, which is complicated and uncertain due to international law. Meanwhile, back home in Nigeria, some residents actually hope that if one leader can be held accountable for actions that hurt the southeast, maybe the same should be done with the rest. In fact, there are voices saying if Ekpa was convicted, why not take similar decisive action with Kanu, while others say that would be a mistake and only deepen divisions. But throughout all this debate, one thing remains clear, These are two very different figures with very different stories, and trying to treat them as one will only confuse the real issues. Ekpa's international conviction was about violent incitement and legal breaches under Finnish law. Kanu's struggle is ongoing in Nigerian courts, subject to constitutional questions and human rights arguments, and remains very contentious among lawyers and activists. What Ekpa's conviction means for Nigeria and IPOB isn't just a legal story, it's a political and social story too. Many Nigerians in the southeast are watching closely because they know that when one leader is taken down, it shifts the balance of influence. Some residents feel a sense of relief that someone who allegedly issued harmful directives has been held accountable. Others worry it may create a vacuum that could be filled by even more radical voices if not handled carefully. And here's where it gets even more interesting. Analysts are saying that Ekpa's faction, the one operating largely online, through broadcast and social media, was never officially recognized by IPOB's main leadership. But social media made it look like he represented the movement. So many people were confused about who is really in charge. That confusion played into the hands of the government, which often used Ekpa's action as a justification for security operations in the southeast. At the same time, Kanu supporters are making their voices heard. They argue that Ekpa's conviction should not be linked to the broader Biafran cause. They stress that IPOB's mission remains peaceful self-determination and that Ekpa's methods, including calls for sit-at-home, were extreme and not representative. These supporters have been using social media, press releases, and interviews to reinforce this distinction. If you're following this story, you notice a clear battle for narrative control happening online. But we also have to consider the economic impact. Many small business owners, traders, and workers in the southeast have been affected by these sit-at-home orders and the perception of unrest. Markets that should be bustling have been empty on key days, and even after Ekpa's conviction, the fear lingers. People want reassurance that normal life can continue without disruptions. That's why the government, local leaders, and IPOB all have a role to play in calming nerves. And here's another layer, the international dimension. Ekpa's conviction in Finland sent a strong message. Foreign governments are watching the situation closely. It also demonstrates that actions taken online can have real consequences internationally. This isn't just about Nigeria anymore, it's about law, diplomacy, and public perception abroad. Viewers, imagine this: a leader operating mostly online, influencing people thousands of kilometers away, ends up convicted in a foreign court. It's a new kind of political reality we have to understand. It shows how globalized activism and social media influence are now. And remember, as we talk about these leaders and movements, it's essential to stick to fact and verified reports, because rumors and false claims only make things worse. So, in summary, and this is important, while Ekpa made waves and caused real tension, the main leadership of IPOB, under Kanu, remains distinct. Ekpa's conviction does not automatically equate to the end of IPOB or Kanu's influence, but it is a significant event in the story of Biafra activism, social stability, and the law. Ordinary citizens are watching closely, and their reactions are part of the story too. Many hope for peace, accountability, and clarity on leadership. Finally, let's not forget the lesson here for all of us: leadership, especially in sensitive political movements, comes with huge responsibilities. Social media influence, international legal systems, and local impact all intersect. And for Nigerians, it's a reminder that political action has consequences, whether at home or abroad. So, viewers, what do you think? Who is really running the show? Is it Ekpa, Kanu, or just a mix of both creating confusion? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and of course, like this video and subscribe to stay updated on all the latest developments in this unfolding story.